Good morning, everyone. The attendance form is dropped in the chat. If you can just write your name in front of your, your district and borough in front of your name. And complete the attendance form. With a Spanish interpreter, make your announcement, please.
Yes. Thank you. Gracias por asistir a esta reunión de diciembre de los miembros del CPAC. Si prefiere escuchar esta reunión en español, por favor llama a la línea de idiomas al 347-966-4114. La identificación de la reunión es 470-214-656 tecla. La información está puesta en el chateo. Por favor, silencien sus micrófonos para evitar ruidos de fondo. Una vez más, gracias por asistir y por favor ponen su nombre en el chateo por la asistencia. Gracias. Spanish announcement complete.
Thank you so much. Josephine, you want to share the slides? Can someone just confirm the YouTube is live? I believe it is. I just like someone else to confirm.
Yes, I see the live. Let me just check in. Click in. Yes, we're good.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, I'm going to just drop the attendance link in the chat again. For everyone who just came in, can you please write your... Why is this doing this? No. They did a very weird update to Zoom, so just bear with me one moment. Okay. The attendance form is now in the chat. Everyone wrote their name. If you need assistance in writing your name in the chat, please let me know. Josephine, you want to do attendance?
Yes, I will do attendance. Okay. District 1. You could just unmute. District 2. District 3.
Here. Yes, good morning.
That's 3.
Yes, 3.
District 4. District 5. District 6.
Good morning, here and present.
District 7. District 8.
Present.
District 9. District 10. District 11. District 12. District 14. District 15.
15 is going to be late. He let us know.
Okay. District 16. District 17. District 18. District 20, that's me. District 21.
Here.
District 22. District 23. District 24. District 25.
Here. Good morning.
Good morning. District 26. District 28, District 29,
Priscilla here.
District 30, Becca's here, District 31,
Good morning. Here.
District 75,
She's excused.
yes. District, Brooklyn High School's President's Council,
I am here.
you
Come
are.
on.
Bronx High School President's Council,
Present.
Manhattan High School,
Present.
Queens High School,
Present.
and Staten Island High Schools.
Present.
Excellent. Thank you, everybody, and good morning and welcome.
Okay, next slide. Priscilla?
Good morning, everyone. And I am going to be reading the CPAC meeting procedures. To ensure fair, smooth, and orderly CPAC meetings, please follow these guidelines. Use the raised hand feature and wait to be recognized before speaking. Limit comments and questions to 2 minutes so all members have the opportunity to participate. The order of speakers for CPAC bylaws are as follows: Executive Board, voting members, and non-voting members as time allows. Speaking and voting eligibility, only verified voting members or designees may speak and vote. Representatives must display their district ID nameplate with their district number on the Zoom. If a president is absent, the designee may vote. Alternates must have written authorization. Seating and Zoom priority. Voting members have first seating at the table in person and priority virtually. Voting rules, only voting members or approved designees from each district may vote on CPAC business. Thank you.
Thank you, Priscilla. Okay, next slide. So some announcements. Our middle school admissions is closing tomorrow. So anyone that did not apply, please make sure you do so by tomorrow. The Big Apple Award nomination deadline to submit a nomination is January 21st. We have some outstanding teachers in New York City, and we want to make sure that they get the recognition they deserve. So once the nomination opens, you can use this link to, and we will also drop it in the chat later on in the meeting. Make sure that you just share with your families to nominate our outstanding teachers. Next slide. So CPAC committees, we did have a meeting with the standing chairs and discussed how information will be shared in our meetings. We also sent an email. I apologize because I know that most of you were flooded with emails. I did not know that that was going to happen, but we wanted to make sure the list is very outdated, and we wanted to make sure that the members of the committee still wanted to be included. Some did ask to be removed from the mailing list, and some want to continue, and most want to continue. So moving forward, the standing committees will share a summary of their and they will share with their committees. So right now we just have the dates. We know that the upcoming wellness meeting is tonight at 7. So if you plan on attending, the link was sent out yesterday and a reminder was also sent out this morning. If you'd like to join one or more of the committees, you receive the email. You can use the cpacnyc.com, and under the standing committees, there's links to view each committee and a link to join the committee that you're interested in. Next slide. So here's our agenda that was also shared with the members. Next slide. So we had shared our November minutes. It was sent out last night for everyone to review before today's meeting. So would someone like to make a motion to approve those minutes?
Samuel's motion to accept minutes as is.
District 31 second.
Thank you. Are there any objections? Okay, so the minutes were approved with no objections. Is anyone here? I think I saw Daniel.
Hey, yeah, I'm here.
Okay, let me just find you so I can make you a co-host. Okay, so we have our first presentation by the Office of Student Enrollment on 3K, Pre-K, and kindergarten admissions. And we have Daniel Hildreth. And Daniel, the floor is yours.
Great. Thank you so much, everyone. Good morning. Can you all see my screen that says Exploring Elementary Admissions?
Yes, we can.
All right, great. My name is Daniel Hildreth. I'm the Executive Director of Elementary School Admissions for the Office of Student Enrollment, and I've been invited to speak a bit about our admissions processes. So really happy to speak with you today. So I'm going to talk about all the admissions processes for elementary school for fall 2026. And so today we're going to talk about 3K, Pre-K, and kindergarten admissions. So for 3K, we're looking at students who are born in 2023 who will be eligible to begin 3K in fall 2026. For Pre-K, students born in 2022, and kindergarten students born in 2021. Families will apply each year in order to participate in the admissions process for these 3 years. Just want to start off by saying that our elementary schools welcome and serve all students. That includes students who are learning English as a new language by providing transitional bilingual education, dual language programs, language supports in schools and programs. We also serve students with accessibility needs. So if your child needs an accessible school, we will ensure that they are provided it. We also serve all students with IEPs or with 504 accommodations. And some of those placements will be made for students through the CPSC for 3K and Pre-K. We'll talk a little bit more about that. And always supporting families who are living in temporary housing or families who are new to the city or to the country. And so supporting families in temporary housing sometimes looks like not requiring them to provide the same level of documentation in order to register and enroll. And finally, all of our schools welcome LGBTQIA+ students, families, and staff. So first, we're going to kind of break down the different settings and school types for our elementary school programs. There are nearly 800 elementary schools and over 1,000 3K and Pre-K options throughout New York City. And these schools and programs will have different types of settings. So first, I want to just go over the most common, a zone school. Most families in New York City live within a school zone, and this is the school where they may have the highest priority to attend. And it is true that most families in New York City do attend their zone school. We also have non-zone schools, schools that do not have a specific geographic area assigned to them. And those schools may admit students with priority to the district where it is located or the borough where it is located. Many non-zone schools do have unique admissions priorities, and we'll get into that a little bit more too. Families are able to apply to either of these school types, and so they're not limited to their zone school. All right. And Pre-K centers are programs that and schools that serve grades before kindergarten. So Pre-K centers look and feel like a school that only serves 3K or Pre-K or both. And these are located throughout the city. We also have New York City Early Education Centers, and these are also known as NYSEEKs or CBO, community-based organizations. These programs are run by the community-based organization, but they're contracted with New York City Public Schools to offer 3K and Pre-K. And then finally, I want to just mention that family childcare networks and family childcare programs are programs that are licensed childcare providers in a home setting. This only exists at the 3K level and often serves students in a mixed age group from birth to 3. Okay, moving right along. So there's also different program types at some of these schools and providers. So a school day program is a typical program in the sense that it provides a classic 6 hours and 20 minutes of all families are eligible to apply to this seat type, and all 3K and Pre-K settings offer this type of seat. Extended day and year seats are offered at NYSEEKs. There are community-based organizations and family childcare programs. There is income and need eligibility through the child care application for these seats, and these seats offer a longer day of 8 to 10 hours. And city transitional seats are give a priority based on income and need. However, all students are eligible to apply, and those also offer an extended 8 to 10 hours of care a day. Finally, I just want to mention dual language seats, which are offered in 3K, pre-K, and kindergarten programs. And these are programs that seek to instruct students 50% of the time in English and 50% of the time in the target language focusing on. And the goal is to build a classroom of fluent English speakers and native speakers of the target language. Okay, and then my last chart looking like this is just understanding different program choices for kindergarten. So we have kindergarten, a classic kindergarten option, which is typically available at every school. We also have some schools that have gifted and talented programs. A number of years ago, we combined the kindergarten G&T admissions process with the general kindergarten admissions process, so families can rank all of the programs for kindergarten on one application. In District 24, we have STEM programs. These are specific programs that admit students in a zoned admissions priority, but do focus on a STEM curricula. And again, we have dual language programs at the kindergarten level as well, where families can apply specifically to the dual language program at a school, in addition to the general monolingual program, or one or the other. And that'll be a theme as we speak today. So what are families doing right now? We opened the kindergarten application on Tuesday of this week, and families can list as many program choices as they're interested in. There are no limits. We do ask families to list their choices in true order of preference. And this means putting your top choice as your number one choice on the application, and your runner-up as your second choice as your second place on the application, on down the line. How you list choices on your application does not change your child's priority to those choices. And what I mean by that is if I'm applying to my zone school as my first choice or as my 12th choice, I will always have my zone priority to that program. And what I'm doing by choosing its ranking on the application is I'm telling the Office of Student Enrollment what my preferences are, because our goal is always to give you one of your top choices, the topmost choice we can possibly provide. There is priority for students who are currently enrolled at a school, perhaps in 3K or pre-K, and they'll have a priority to remain at that school. And we just want to be really clear that we really want to drive home the idea that you should only list schools that you do want your child to attend to. There's no strategy in adding a program that you're not interested in, because that could be a program that you receive an offer to if you list it on your application. So let's talk a little bit about priority groups. Most schools, again, are zone schools, and those schools are going to give priority to families who reside in the, again, most families do attend their zone school for kindergarten. Not all zone schools have 3K and pre-K programs, however. You're also going to have a priority to any programs of schools that are in your home district. So first, there's your zone school where you may have highest priority. Then there are other programs at schools in your district that you may have priority to. You'll also get a priority if you have an other child attending a school. So you have a child applying and they have an older sibling attending, there will be a priority for that. G&T programs give priority to siblings as well and to families who reside in the district, but not to school zones. There is no zoned priority for G&T programs. How offers are made is a combination of considerations looking at the choices listed on a family's application, the seat availability at each school, and a child's priority group to that school. We intend on giving an offer to everyone who applies by the deadline for 3K, pre-K, and kindergarten. Families are not guaranteed an offer to a specific program, but we make every effort to make offers to the highest ranked choices on a family's application. The timeline for 3K, pre-K, and kindergarten is pretty similar. As I mentioned, we opened the kindergarten application earlier this week. Pre-K applications will open up this in January. During this time, families may be exploring options, attending open houses and events at schools and programs to do some research. It's also a good time to create a My Schools account if families haven't done that already, so they can start using the directory in My Schools to research programs. Once the application is open, our main goal is to have families submit that application by the deadline. Families can do that through My Schools, which is definitely our recommendation, or over the phone. There's a little bit of quiet time until we release offers in the spring. And so those offers will go out to families beginning with kindergarten in late March. And at that point, families can accept those offers, register at their school, and potentially receive waitlist offers. As soon as offers go out, the waitlists open up as well. And so families may be on waitlists initially if they don't receive their top choice, because we're going to waitlist families at anything they ranked higher than the offer they received. So to illustrate that, I just want to give an example. If I'm applying to 5 schools for my child for the fall, but I get my 3rd ranked choice, I'm going to be automatically waitlisted at choices 1 and 2. And so it's possible that I may receive a waitlist offer on a rolling basis until the early fall in September when we close those waitlists. We see lots of families get a more preferred offer through the waitlist process. I like to tell families that when offers are released, it is the beginning, not the end of this process for them, because so much can change. Okay, so just kind of going from our youngest students on up, for 3K admissions, again, we're looking for students who are born in 2023 who reside in New York City. Application will open up on January 14th. And this is not a first come, first served process. So anyone who applies by the deadline will be processed as an on-time application. And again, in 2025, we made offers to all main round applicants for the first time. We're expecting to do the same this year. The pre-K application will open on the same day, and again, not first come, first serve. We just want to focus on getting an application in during that period, and we will provide a placement to all applicants during that time. One piece of advice we have to families is if you are looking outside of your residential district where you live, you may want to consider those CBO programs. The CBO programs themselves do not have zoned or district-based admissions priorities. So you would have an equal priority to other applicants in applying to those programs. And for kindergarten, our kindergarten application is open. It closes on January 23rd. All families who, again, not first come, first serve, and all families that apply by the deadline will receive offers in the spring. Again, most children attend their zone school. It is possible that you may apply to schools that are not your zone school, receive an offer to your zone school, and then maybe get an offer to something else from the waitlist. That is fairly common. I'm going to speak about gifted and talented admissions for a moment as well. On the kindergarten application, you can apply to both general kindergarten programs and G&T programs. If families are interested in those G&T programs, they should rank them alongside those other schools and programs in their preference order. So if you really want a G&T program over program, you should rank it higher. I want to be clear that once you rank a G&T program and submit that application, then a process begins where we determine eligibility. Current pre-K students who attend district schools, pre-K centers, and NYSEEKs and charter schools will all be evaluated by their pre-K teacher, and anyone who is not enrolled in a program that I just mentioned, or in a private or parochial school, or just not enrolled at all, will be contacted by the Division of Early Childhood Education to set up an interview to determine eligibility. We typically have 3 pathways for our applications. Again, myschools.nyc is the recommended pathway in the sense that this allows families to receive communication directly from us as milestones come up and as offers are released. We also have our call center that can support families in submitting an application. Our number is here on the screen. And finally, our family welcome centers, which are in-person offices that families can receive direct support. Families can set up an appointment by going to our website here. Okay. I do want to just mention a couple of things that I'm not going to speak to off the slide, but we really encourage families to apply by the deadline. If you want to make a change, you've already submitted your application, changes can be made through that application deadline. So families can log in, they can apply, they can reorder their choices, they can remove and add things. And that's true also even in the waitlist round. If families have not considered an option and now they're interested in something they hadn't applied to, they can add their child to the application. I'm sorry, add them to the waitlist. I'm going to just abbreviate a little bit of this just so we can maybe potentially have some time for questions, but want to be clear that 3K and pre-K transportation is not provided through school bus service unless it is specified on the student's IEP. Enrollment in kindergarten to 8th grade does not guarantee school bus service either, but there is bus eligibility dependent on routes and distance to travel. Students who are attending outside their school district, however, are not eligible for busing unless, again, it is specified on the IEP, and in some cases with students attending citywide G&T programs, if they fall within that bus route of 5 miles or less. I do want to just push a couple other contacts of other offices that may be relevant to families as they go through this process. Office of Pupil Transportation, Special Education Office, English Language Learners, and School Support Health. These are, worthwhile in terms of if families have specific questions about these policies. And finally, just want to, again, push My Schools. You can use directory is available there, but reach out to us too if you have questions. Our call center line is there. I really would highly recommend folks emailing my team directly at esenrollment@schools.nyc.gov. We are very quick to respond to families, typically within a day or two. And all of our websites here on the slide are good places to just find more detailed information about some of the things I'm speaking about, videos and tutorials. You can also sign up for our email updates where we will, again, provide those reminders for milestone dates. I think we have about 10 minutes for questions, and I can certainly elaborate on anything more. I'll pause there.
Thank you so much, Daniel. I'm just going to ask the Spanish interpreter if she could just repeat.
Gracias por asistir a esta reunión de diciembre de miembros del CPAC. Si prefiere escuchar a esta reunión en español, llama a la línea de idiomas al 347-966-4114. La identificación de la reunión es 4704-656 tecla. La información está en el chateo. Silencien sus micrófonos para evitar ruidos de fondo. Una vez más, gracias por su asistencia.
Thank you. So we have some questions that we received in advance. Oh, I'm sorry, you finished? Okay, she was finished. What steps are being taken to increase access to 3K pre-K seats in neighborhoods where demand consistently exceeds supply?
Great question. We are working through different outreach projects right now in terms of things that are brand new for this year. We are developing a pretty nuanced and targeted call operation to reach out to families, prioritizing families in temporary housing as well as districts where we know we have seat availability and unmet demand. So we are working on a pretty rigorous call outreach project. We're constantly working with CBOs and third-party organizations to pilot outreach efforts. Right now, we're working with the mayor's office to pilot a specific child care outreach program in several shelters. We work very closely with the Office of Students in Temporary Housing to ensure that those families and students are able to access our information alongside their peers. So this is a high priority for this office and I believe current and future administrations.
Thank you. So I believe you just answered this, but I'm just going to ask it because it was asked. How are you ensuring that all families, especially multilingual families, immigrant families, and families experience homelessness, have equitable access to the admissions process?
Yeah. So again, we make a strong effort to ensure that all of our resources are available in the DOE supported languages and beyond. Our call center also is able to provide interpretation in many, many more languages than the DOE supported languages. But this type of outreach is ongoing. We're working very closely. Again, I want to focus on families who are living in temporary housing or shelter who we are tracking through various city agencies and doing direct outreach to those families. This is something we're also trying to provide information sessions in language, meaning we always provide interpretation at events similar to how you're doing so here. We've also piloted in language events for Spanish and Chinese over the past few years so that it is not provided in English and given side-by-side interpretation. And so this is ongoing. We're working with our partner offices to ensure and adjust. We also have a very rigorous team doing engagement with our constituents, with families, with schools, with CBOs to get feedback on our process and adjust year over year, see what's working and what isn't. So it is definitely iterative.
Okay, and I just want to follow up. So I know that you shared about access, but what about the increase in seats in the neighborhoods where the demand is exceeding, like where there's no seats and they're in need of seats? What about the increase for that?
Yeah, so this is an annual process. Every year we work with the Division of Early Childhood Education to establish new programs or reallocate existing programs and analyzing where we have those gaps. So we're in the process of doing that right now so that we can open the application on the 13th with the programs available to families for next fall. I see a question in the chat as well about this. And so basically asking the comparison of seats this year to last year. And unfortunately, I can't give you that number yet because that is still being established as we speak, but should be finalized soon. And one thing I think is worth keeping in mind is that can continue to fluctuate into the start of the school year. So we've seen programmatic changes happen as needed after offers go out, even maybe opening a new section at a school or moving a section from one site to another in order to meet need on the go. So it's ongoing, but those final seat counts we can certainly provide year over year.
Okay, thank you so much. Any questions from the members? Just use the raise hand feature on the bottom of your screen. Or from the executive board, actually, any executive board members? Rima?
Hi, good morning. How
Morning.
are you solving for the special education seat need and for the transportation issue? Because I know you mentioned STH students when you answered the first question initially about access to those that may not have access in areas where there's like a lesser availability of seats. But also, what about students that need hyper-specific seats or that need transportation? Because it's not just students with disabilities that are eligible for transportation. There are other subgroups.
Yeah, I'm going to be limited in my ability to speak to transportation policy because that is housed in a different office, and I'm not an expert. But in terms of students with disabilities and accessing programs, the special education reform, which is well established at this point, requires schools to provide programming for their incoming students. Students who require a specialized program, which it sounds like you're referring to, where maybe that's a student who needs a District 75 placement or needs something really tailored like a bilingual special education program. We do have a separate process for students who are transitioning from pre-K to kindergarten with a finalized IEP. Those students will receive a placement to a school that meets their IEP recommendation. In most cases, students, that is the same school that they would have been attending kindergarten otherwise, meaning if I apply to kindergarten and I get an offer to a school and then my IEP is finalized, the goal is for that school to be the school that can still serve me. And that is true for the most part. The exception is when we have students who have very, very specific program recommendations, such as District 75 programs, bilingual special education, or families interested in ASD programs, autism programs.
Okay, Priscilla?
Good morning. Thank you. I had placed my question in the chat, but I'm going to ask it here. So there are gaps with kindergarten, public and charter enrollment dates. I'm not sure if your department or division can align with whomever can. How can this be better aligned to close the funding gap that impacts public school kindergarten enrollment?
Thanks, Priscilla. I'm not sure I totally am familiar with what you're referring to when it comes to the funding gap. But I do absolutely understand the timeline situation in the sense that our admissions process, we really work to try to get kindergarten offers out as soon as we possibly can. Midwinter and spring break don't help with that. But it's challenging. And so charter schools are able to set enrollment timelines that are not uniform to ours, and not all charter schools are following the same timelines. So it's tricky, but what we try to do is tell families that, you can participate in both processes. And we try to then work with schools so that when families may have offers to more than one site, to ensure that they're communicating directly with the schools about their plans, so that a school, if they are losing a student to another program or school system, that they're able to fill that seat readily from the wait list.
I think, let me just quickly say, charter has a cutoff somewhere closer to October, and for that reason, when they know that they're not going to retain that student, that's when these students become available to public, and that causes a funding problem with public schools in terms of now having to wait until they can accept or receive funds for those students, and that's where we have a big issue I'm seeing in particularly my district, where we have a deficit of kindergarten enrollment.
In district schools.
Yes.
Yeah. Priscilla, I'd love to speak with you more directly about this, because it sounds like there's, some things that I don't, in terms of exactly how that's playing out in your district.
For sure. I will reach out to the information you provided. Thank you for your time.
Yeah, please. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. We are perfectly on time. I just saw Mark enter the meeting. If anyone has any other questions, please write them in the chat and we will forward them to Daniel and his team. Thank you, Daniel, so much for being here, for your presentation.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Everyone have a great rest of your day.
You too. Okay, so we have long title. Chief Mark Rampersant, the Division of School Planning and Development, Office of Safety and Youth Development, to present on distraction-free learning. Mark, I'm making you co-host so you can share your screen if you need to. And the floor is yours.
First and foremost, good morning, everybody. Again, my name is Mark Rampersant. I'm the Chief of Safety and Prevention Partnerships, and under my respective vertical falls the Office of Safety and Youth Development, which encompasses a number of offices: the Office of Suspension, the work around bullying, LGBTQ, the work in restorative justice, the Public School Athletic League, safety and security overall, climate and culture, and support for our school counselors. So all of those things fall under my respective vertical. I have the pleasure of serving New York City Public Schools for 33 years in various roles. So I might know a little something about the work that I do. Today I'm here really just to give you an overview of the state of our school system as it relates to safety overall, and I'm going to talk a little bit about safety, very high level safety snapshot, so that you can get a sense of where we are in the school system. I know that there were specific questions asked about the effects of the internet-enabled devices thus far. We are still checking the temperature around our schools, but let me share with you the many schools that I've gone to have conversations about what the change has meant for them. Some of the things that we are observing is more students talking to each other in the cafeteria, more students interacting in the corridors, really communicating with each other as opposed to walking with their heads down. And many of our teachers are happy about the fact that young people are more engaged in academics and less focused on their electronic devices. And while we are not a perfect system, we are happy to share that we're reaping positive results in that respect. And we're continuing to work toward ensuring that our school system is cell phone free. Schools had the autonomy to implement the type of cell phone collection or internet-enabled device restrictions that they wanted. Some people went with collecting, other people went with pouches, other people went with all kinds of amazing ideas to restrict the use of. So just to start out there. So with overall incidents in school, we are seeing a 2% increase, and the 2% increase is for our level 1s to 3 infractions. And for those of you who know schools, you know that the 1 to 3 infractions are our low-level infractions, right? Insubordination by a student refusing to show identification, a student refusing to give up their cell phone, so forth and so on. So it runs the full gamut. In that 1 to 3, we're seeing this is up by 6.6%. 6.6%. The 2.4% increase that I shared with you is a combination of our entire 1 to 5 incidents. Level 4s to 5 are our most egregious. 4s to 5s, we are seeing a decrease of 9% in our school system overall. As it relates to overall suspensions, we are seeing a decrease of 9% as well, with principal suspensions down by 6.2% and our superintendent suspensions down by 19.5%. So lots of restorative work happening there, lots of interventions being utilized, and lots of pre-work, right? It's the broken window theory. If you address it when it's a crack, it won't, continue to shatter. As it relates to bullying, overall, we're seeing 11% decrease in bullying with a 34% decrease in violations proven to be bully-based. As you know, schools are required to conduct investigations anytime there's an allegation of a bullying, and they have to get back with a disposition based on the investigation, and 34% of the cases were not bullying. And then we have incidents of posting disturbing or distributing unauthorized material via cell phones or electronic devices. We're seeing a 25% decrease in that as opposed to last year. So the message is definitely out during the course of the school day, not utilizing devices to commit those kinds of infractions. And then overall crime in our schools, this is NYPD data, we are seeing an 11% decrease in overall crimes. Our 7 majors, we're seeing a 10.2% decrease and a 17.4% decrease in violent crime down in schools overall. So we're doing a lot of work, and this work is not happening just with our school staff. This is about the collaborative relationship that I'll talk about briefly going forward. And then as it relates to weapons and dangerous instruments in schools, we're seeing a 5% decrease. We're seeing less items being found in school, whether it's a scanning school or non-scanning school. And as it relates to firearms in schools, we're seeing a 56% decrease. 50% decrease in firearms collected in New York City Public School. Last year, we saw 9 at about this time last year, and we're seeing 4 so far this year. So a lot of work is going in, a lot of conversations with young people, a lot of enforcement by our partners in the NYPD and the School Safety Division, and a lot of work around social-emotional support for our young people. And I say again, this is not work that we do alone. This is the work that we do with our caregivers, where we are the Office of Safety and Youth Development, at least through our counseling group, we are offering trauma-informed care training for our caregivers, right? And we've trained 8,000 caregivers to date since September, and we're continuing to push forward. Our local business partners, who we are reminding our schools are a part of the school community, and our young people frequent their establishments. And we ask that our schools continue to bring them in as part of the conversation as we talk about supporting our young people as they transition to and from schools. Our community-based organization, our partners and CBOs and people on the floor who are credible messengers and violence interrupters who work diligently in our communities to keep our kids safe, reminding our schools that it's important to tap into those partnerships. Our faith-based partners who have their ear to the ground, and the parishioners who visit their establishments on the weekends and weekdays. This is an opportunity to talk to them about how they can help secure our communities and keep our schools safe places and keep our young people safe. Our elected officials who continue to invest in our schools and continue to support our schools in various areas, but they also get the concerns expressed by the community. We definitely want to make sure that we keep them as our partners as well. And our most important commodity here, and I'll say commodity because they belong to each and every one of us, is our students, our student ambassadors, continuing to highlight them and have them speak on behalf of their school communities, have them be ambassadors in their school communities and make them upstanders and not bystanders. But again, this is not work that we do alone. I appreciate the opportunity to be here before you and being able to share what I consider to be pretty favorable news, and we're continuing to chip away at some of the unfortunate incidents that happened, whether it's around our school system or in our school system, but here to answer any questions that you may have. So thank you very much, Madam President.
Thank you so much, Mark. So we had a few questions we received. Have you seen any measurable improvements in student behavior since the ban on internet-enabled personal devices took effect this school year compared to last year?
Yeah, we've been gracious. Young people have been gracious enough to oblige us in early conversations. We've visited a number of schools and we've had conversations around what this ban has meant to you. And young people are saying that it's forcing me to have conversations with people who I didn't know. I've met some more friends. I mean, our schools purchase board games, and we are now interacting in that way. So yeah, we're seeing a difference in young people in the way by which they're interacting. We are not taking a victory lap by any means. We know that we still have more work to go as we deal with the internet and we deal with the powerful internet and the new phones that are literally handheld computers. We know that we have challenges on our hands. So we're dealing with the cell phones and the AirPods, we're dealing with the watches, and now we're dealing with the Meta glasses, right? And that's a challenge for us as well. So it's a long way of saying yes, but we still have a long way to go. Thank you.
Okay. Can you share data showing whether ORS reports, suspensions, or classroom incident rates have decreased since the device ban was implemented?
Yeah, I definitely shared with you some data just now, and that data is reflective of all of the overall ORs. I specifically went to any ORs that's related to the cell phones, and I shared with you that we've seen a decrease in that respective area. So that question probably came before I fully shared out the data.
Okay.
And we're seeing a 25% decrease as it relates to posting images or use cell phone for those purposes. So thank you for that question.
And that's great. Are there early improvements by some schools, such as better focus and fewer classroom disruptions being seen citywide or only in certain districts or grade levels?
So it's a school to school. I mean, what we're seeing overall is that principals are expressing their gratitude to the state as well to the city for implementing this internet-enabled ban. And they are citing things like more focused students. Again, young people are talking to each other and they're becoming friends, learning about all of the different supports that schools have to fill that void that they think they need with the cell phone. Again, more board games than ever. I've seen rolling carts of board games. I've seen young people mimicking some of the internet challenges that they've had, where they're either dancing or, hand clapping, whatever it is. Yeah, so we're seeing some better better interaction of our young people. It is specific to each school. We are working with an organization to see how we get a full snapshot of the whole school system so that we can better share out what that looks like for all of our schools.
Okay. I see, Reverend, you have your hand up. I just want to see if there's any questions, because I didn't ask questions from the chat. But they have to be a voting member. Any in the Spanish line? From a voting member. I'm not the chat, I'm sorry, the Spanish line.
I just asked just 1 minute. Hola, ¿hay alguien en la línea de español que le gustaría hacer una pregunta?
But they have to be a voting member.
Cualquier persona que sea un miembro votante. No questions, I guess. There is no one.
Okay, thank you. Reverend Thompson?
Hi, good morning. Firstly, I want to say thank you to Mr. Rampersant for being vigilant in providing restorative justice training. You know, he definitely provided that over the summer. Thank you so much for that. We did have a discussion yesterday at our CEC in District 8 concerning making sure that we have trained professionals doing our restorative justice practices and restorative practices within our schools, just to avoid any misallocation of the true meaning of those just to avoid those harms, and even working with the superintendents to make sure that our staff and our administrators and whoever is providing the actual service in real time is actually a trained professional to do so, just to avoid any potential harm as we continue to do these services. So just wanted to put that in the space, and again say thank you for really supporting the community and parents in making sure that this is getting done with fidelity.
Absolutely, absolutely, and thank you for your continued advocacy for the work around restorative justice. Obviously, you've read some of the naysayers in the papers lately who believe that restorative practices are here to take place of suspensions, and we are continuing to remind people that this is another tool in the belt. It is all of the work that happens before we even think about a suspension. It's around helping our kids sort of and take ownership. But it's even better that we're able to extend that support to our parents and our educators who are the respondents to student behavior. So thank you very much for highlighting that, ma'am. And we're continuing that work going forward, and we're always available to train parents. So if you have groups of parents who you want us to support, we'll be more than happy to do that for you.
Okay, I do see a question in the chat about opportunities for community members, parents, and parent leaders to participate in restorative justice practices, including training.
You put the butts in the seats, we will bring the trained professionals in front of, and we'll be more than happy. So you can reach out to me directly. The president can share my information with you. And if you're able to again, bring people to the room, people who are willing to participate positively in this initiative, we provide training for you. Our goal is to train any and everybody who's willing to participate. So thank you for that.
Thank you. Priscilla?
Thank you, and good morning, Chief Rampersant. It's always a pleasure. I first want to commend you for the work you're doing in South Queens. Since the Safety Town Hall at Van Buren, we have seen tremendous improvement. So thank you first and foremost. Secondly, the question that everyone wants to know about crossing guards. I know that may be tied to funding restraints. However, there are some schools that are in need of additional crossing guards, and or maybe some information that can be shared as to how they could obtain a permit to have street closures within the designated school hours.
So thank you for that. And I appreciate your advocacy as well. And it's always a pleasure to see you, especially with the fancy shirt on. I see you.
Thank you.
I'm a fan of the camouflage. So crossing guards. So as you know, the crossing guards are employees of the NYPD. How in the purview of my office, we work in lockstep with the police department to ensure that every one of our schools that is requesting a crossing guard, in fact, gets a crossing guard. So if you would be so kind and send me an email with those schools that are missing crossing guards, I would be more than happy to pass it on to Craig Goldsberry in my office, who sort of spearheads that work. We've been very successful with our partnership with the NYPD to get crossing guards at schools. There is a requirement that a school must meet in order to have a crossing guard, and they're normally the schools that do not, where the kids transition on their own and they're not transitioning with a parent, right? So if you send me that information for those schools, I'll make sure that we reach out to those respective precincts and someone will visit the principal, view the site itself, walk the area, monitor the traffic patterns, dismissal and morning entry, and they will support the school in getting the much needed support. Okay?
Thank you so much and happy holidays.
Same to you. Be well.
Okay, thank you. I just want to remind everyone when speaking to just speak a little bit slower because there's Spanish translation happening and we want to be respectful of them. Question in the chat, has there been any further expansion or discussion planning of protections to ensure the safety of students in relation to ICE?
Yeah, so that is a ongoing conversation. Our partners here in New York City Public Schools that is responsible for the work in Project Open Arms is, as a matter of fact, today we're meeting with groups of advocates to talk about, as communities, how we can continue to support our newest New Yorkers as well as others who are vulnerable to the possibilities of ICE enforcement. But as you know, we're continuing to offer rights training. Our mayor, our incoming mayor, has made it a point to continue to make Know Your Rights training offered available to anyone who wants to participate. We are in the process of having some real deep discussions around how do we mobilize the community to continue to be the eyes and ears of the community, to make notification when such enforcements are taking place in the community, to ensure that people have ample time to sort of protect themselves from these unfortunate measures that are taking place. So the long way of saying yes, there's a lot of work that's still being done. That work will be shared with our partners in FACE, who will then turnkey and make sure that the message gets down to parents. A lot of the work can't be highly publicized for fear of some of what you see at the highest level of government. I'm speaking cryptic intentionally.
Okay, thank you for that. Question in the chat, what happened to the borough response teams?
The borough response teams, I'm not sure who they are. Whoever that is, can they come off mute? Is that
Yep.
okay?
Hi. The borough response teams were a function of Project Open Arms when it was first implemented, where at first there was just a response team, and then we realized that we needed to break into boroughs because each borough had really specific sets of needs and concerns. And so each borough had a response team, and there were a couple of parents on the team. Tamara was actually my person for the Bronx before she became the head of that project. And once she transitioned and they
Yeah.
officiated that space, the borough response team stopped. But those teams were responsible for those huge events that they had at the shed and the door. And so I'm just wondering, what you're asking for is something that we had. How do we bring that back
Bring it
to
back,
kind of
yeah.
do what you're saying?
Yep. I will reiterate to Tamara. The borough response team sounds like it was a successful initiative. I will remind her, Rima, and either she or I will get back to you on that. But I'll reach out to Tamara and ask her today, is there any appetite to 2.0 that initiative? Or do they still exist, but it's not as widely known? But Rima, one of us will get back to you before the day is out.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are there any other questions for Mark? Anything I missed in the chat? Okay, thank you so much, Mark, for answering all our questions, for always being available to parent leaders. We appreciate you so much, and we
Absolutely.
wish you a good day.
Same to you. Happy holiday to everyone. And again, my offering for restorative justice applies to all. It wasn't for anybody in particular. It's out to all. Second, the trauma-informed care training that we also offer to parents is also available to the parent leaders. So please get the message out. I can send, as a matter of fact, Madam President, we will send you the offering dates. They are virtual. Any parent can log on and be a part of those trauma-informed trainings. Very important, especially during the times of the holidays. Our kids are sad. Parents are sad, right? We have all kinds of things like food insecurity and you know, all of these things happening to our young people at this holiday season. So, you know, just being able to manage and level set is a helpful tool. So please take full advantage. It's not about numbers for us, and we are dedicated to this work and want to see as many people supported as we can possibly support. So thank you again, and I appreciate the invitation.
Mark, would you mind one quick question that just
Sure.
dropped in the chat? Are behavior intervention plans being implemented with fidelity?
So, yeah, listen, that's more a question for our District 75 folks who are responsible for the BIPs and so forth. I can't speak directly to that. So when Andy and or Christina, Deputy Chancellor Foti gets on the line, I think that that's a better question for them. I don't want to tread into anybody else's area, so I apologize.
Okay, no problem. I just thought
And,
maybe.
and just as a point of information, while I strictly focus on 75 students with special needs, a BIP can be administered to any kid with a behavioral issue, but it's really something utilized for our students who have, you know, particular behavioral issues. I can look at BIPs overall and see how schools are utilizing, affecting, and so forth. It's a larger conversation, and it'll take a large amount of time for that information to be ascertained. So I don't want to sound like I'm shunning it off, but it's a huge, huge burden. I can't answer that question for you in this time and in this space, so I apologize for that.
Mark, I'd like to rephrase the question. I
Yeah.
think it's not about following the BIP. I think it's about what happens when a student with a BIP gets in trouble. And because we are seeing where we're having students with IEPs that have behavior plans that are getting suspended, and the response is not appropriate to the documentation, and like you're ending up in an MDR situation, which is unnecessary. Like, why should a student have to eat any suspension days to go to an help me with the acronym, something determination review, where it's to
The
decide.
manifestation of determination.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just, because I know there are people listening that don't know the acronyms.
Sure.
So like what we're going to go and determine that the student doesn't have to be suspended because it is a manifestation of their
Manifestation of a
disability.
disability. Yep.
So why should a student have to be, they still have to be suspended until the review, which could be up to 5 days that they're waiting in a suspension site, not wrongfully. I think that's what the question is trying to get at.
So I got to tell you, this one is a big one for me. And once I took over the work of suspensions, it's one that made my stomach sick. And I'm hoping I'm able to say that in this space, right? A young person who is serving a suspension only to find out that they can't be suspended because their actions are a manifestation of their disability. How do you get the time back that you already served? Right? And so for me, one of the fights that I'm having, and we're having conversations with legal on the highest level, is that a young person is not removed from their school until such time as the MDR is done. So that's the work that my team is working on. And we continue to advocate for all students. But this particular group of students is a real concern for me, because my actions, manifestation, how do you dare?
Yes.
How do you dare suspend me for it, right? It's like suspending water because it's wet, a bird because they fly, right? That's the work. So please forgive me for outbursting in this space, but this is a big one for me. So thank you, Rima, for clarifying. And I will keep you guys informed of where we land with that.
Thank you for everything. You just said everything that parents are feeling and saying always. So thank you so much. Like, you don't know how much that means to all of us listening to you say that. We appreciate that so much.
Thank
And
you.
hopefully change will come
Sure.
sooner than later.
Yep.
But thank
Thank
you
you.
so much. Have a happy holiday, Mark.
You too. Everybody be well.
You too. Okay. Moving on. That was definitely impactful. That really made a difference. That was appreciated. We are so good on time today. I am so happy. This is just wonderful. We now have the new chief of FACE, Dr. Annmary Lopez. The floor is yours.
I'm still muted. Um, Thank you, President. I wanted to just say, if just in case, I'm the new chief of Family and Community Empowerment here at the Division of Family and Family, Community, and Student Empowerment. I wanted to give you some updates. There's some really exciting things happening here at FACE. And so just to kick it off, the Family Connectors. So New York City Cares, we now have over 1,892 family connectors actively supporting their communities. We've delivered a total of 38 city agency and partner trainings, 20 in the spring and 18 in the fall, with only 2 sessions remaining to close out the 2025 year. So those sessions are here. I'm going to put them in the chat so that we have them. And I'm also going to provide the sign up. Please sign up. Make sure that you have an opportunity to be the voice and the support of your communities. We also have Cares in Action sessions that kicked off on December 1st, where families and parents are learning about the science of reading so that they can be a part of their child's literacy development and their journey. We also had trauma-informed care training this Monday that just passed. That was an incredible opportunity to start with family connectors, to add tools in their toolbox to care for themselves as they care and support their communities. And it was an amazing experience having family connectors be in community, in person, together, learning together, and supporting one another. And that is truly just a model of the work. Then to go into CEC, each CEC hosts a town hall in their district with the chancellor once during the CECs every 2 years. This is an opportunity to share information, hear about the community's concerns, and respond to questions. Join us in January for these upcoming town halls. Make sure to register and submit questions beforehand. I'm going to add that we are in CEC 9 and CEC 29 in January. I'm going to put that in the chat. Okay. And I just want to say, please encourage your school families to get involved with their education council. It's important that as trusted partners in supporting our students and families, you play a key role in connecting parents to meaningful opportunities, and help parents make their voices heard and shape their school community. Encourage them, again, to join. There are 32 community CECs, one for each school district, representing families of students in grades pre-K. Additionally, 4 city-wide councils advise on policies affecting high school students, CCHS, CECL, and I'm getting used to the acronyms, so just bear with me. CCSE, Students with Disabilities, and CCD 75. Each of the 36 council holds monthly public meetings, and so making sure that you support these counts, we partner and create stability for policies. I'm going to also add the upcoming meetings. There's a link to that. And many councils currently have open seats, so visit the link below to view current vacancies and apply to serve. I'm gonna give that. And then lastly, as a reminder, winter recess will be from December 24th to January 2nd. All New York City public schools will be closed. And with that, on behalf of Faith, myself, and DC Melendez, we wish all CPAC members and their families a very happy holiday season and a joyous and positive year ahead.
So thank you, Dr. Annmary Lopez. Does anyone have questions for Dr.? I don't know if you're prepared to answer questions. Are you prepared? Anyone have any questions for Dr. Annmary Lopez? And in the chat, it says D75 seats are open and we need your help to fill them. So please, if you are a D75 parent, please apply for a D75 rep vacancy in your district. Okay, so thank you, Dr. Annmary Lopez, and have a happy holiday. I know you're going to stay on for a little while longer, but just in case, have a very happy holiday. Where are we? Okay, Becca, are you ready? Okay, so now we're going to play a game. We are going to have a little trivia. So Becca, you're going to explain the way it works? Or you want me to explain?
Either way works. But I think I need to be a host to share it.
You're not co-host?
No, remember I was in transit, so.
Oh, right. You kept dropping off. I kept making you a co-host. Okay, so we're going to do no teams. And the way it's going to work is there's no buzzers, but there's no team. So the first person who raises their hand will be called on. And then if you answer the question correctly, you pick the next question, but you don't continue answering the questions. Then the next person has to raise their hand and then they'll be called on. And if you get the question right, you ask the next question. If you get the question wrong, the next person in with their hand raised will get to answer that question. Is that clear for everyone? We're all good? Okay, so we're gonna, I guess, Becca, you pick the first question and then we'll go on from there.
We'll start with the basics. So we'll do A660 basics for 100.
Okay, question.
Okay, want me to read it or you want to read it?
You can do that.
Okay, so it must be reviewed every 3 years and whenever A660 is revised, and then readopted by a 2/3 vote of the membership, regardless of whether or not any amendments were made.
Rima, what is the answer?
Bylaws.
Can we see the?
There they are.
Thank you, Rima. So Rima, you pick the next question. Everyone put their hands back down. And the first person who answers the question, and we'll just keep going. So Rima asks, what's the next question?
Acronyms for 100.
Okay.
SLT.
Do I answer it?
Can.
No, Caroline.
Raise a hand, raise a hand.
Caroline answers it. It's the person who raises the hand first. So Caroline.
Got it.
What is a school leadership team?
Can we see the answer? Yes, you are correct. Caroline, you get to ask the next question.
I'd like to choose who's who in New York City Public Schools for 100, please.
Okay.
The
Liaison
liaison to CPAC.
Oh, sorry. Rima, you're quick on the buzzer.
Who is Anthony Aguilar?
Can we see the answer? Okay, Rima, you pick the next question.
President's Council for 300.
Okay, put your hands down. Okay,
All
back
right,
up.
the president or a co-president must serve on this citywide organization.
Reverend Thompson.
What is CPAC?
Correct.
Yay.
Reverend Thompson, you ask the next question. Reverend Thompson, pick the next question, please.
Acronyms for 200.
Thank you.
FLC.
Quentin.
Family leadership. What is family leadership coordinator?
Oh, and he answered in the form. Right. Very good, Quentin. Thank you. Okay, Quentin, you pick the next question.
So we're going with acronyms for 500.
Okay, just put your hand down, Quentin.
CPAC.
Go ahead, Rima.
What is Chancellor's Parent Advisory Council?
I knew you knew this one. Okay. You get to pick the next question. Just put your hand down so this way.
A660 for 200.
Okay, so failure to elect mandatory officers by the last day of the school year, if it has not held elections or fails to elect at least one mandatory officer by the last day of school, failure to hold elections for mandatory officers in a timely manner, fails to hold a timely expedited election to fill a vacancy in one or more mandatory offices.
No hands raised for this one? I'm shocked. Nobody wants. Did anyone want to take a guess? Bandana.
What is a PA and PTA?
No. Tanya? Tanya, you want to answer the question?
1 second. They cease to function.
Let me see the answer. Thank you, Tanya. You pick the next question.
President's Council 500.
Okay, just put your hand down. Thank you.
All right, pursuant to state law, all community education councils and community superintendents are required to meet blank with the PA, PTA officers in their respective districts. The president's councils and the corresponding CEC will collaborate to establish a mutually agreeable meeting date and time and agenda topics.
Caroline.
What is the quarterly meeting?
Can we see the answer?
Yep.
Okay, you pick the next question. Letitia, you can put your hand down.
Can we please have elections for 300?
Okay.
All right, the deadline in which elections of mandatory officers of President's Council must be completed to be eligible to run for CPAC Executive Board.
Reverend Thompson.
September 30th.
No. Tanya?
Oh, going up.
October.
Come on, Randy.
October.
Everybody better screenshot that.
Hey, come on. We all got that wrong. Y'all was with me, right?
Okay, next question. Oh, who answered that?
I said October.
All right, it was October. It's before our October meeting. Okay, so pick the next question.
Elections 500.
Okay.
All right, if the PA, PTA, or PC president is unable to attend their President's Council or CPAC meeting, this person attends on their behalf with the approval of the organization's membership and certification form.
Reverend Thompson.
What is a designee or delegate?
Can we see the answer?
Yep.
Okay. Reverend Thompson, you pick the next question.
Acronyms for 400?
PEP.
Tanya.
Panel for educational.
Sorry. Oh. Okay. She didn't finish. She didn't quite finish yet. Okay. All right. Tanya, you pick the next question.
Let's go for President's Council 400.
Okay. She said 400.
Okay, every 2 years, the President's Council is responsible for the selection of questions and for the running of the forum involving the potential parent members of this council.
Quentin.
What is the CEC elections candidate form?
Can we see the answer? Correct. Quentin, you picked the next question.
Who's who in NYCPS for 500?
Oh.
Acting Deputy Chancellor for Operations.
Tanya. Tanya?
Pass.
Oh, you pass?
Yeah.
Okay. Rima?
Who is Kevin Moran?
Can we see the answer? Rima, you asked the next question.
Acronyms for 300.
Base.
Caroline. And that's like a little bit tricky one because they keep changing it. So go ahead with all the things that you have to say, Caroline.
I'm gonna give you both. I originally had family and community engagement, family and community empowerment is the other one I've heard.
Okay.
Can I just say that I wanted to answer, but I couldn't find the hands up. Just saying.
Okay, so yes, they do change. It's interchanges with engagement and empowerment, but we like empowerment. So I'm glad that when Dr. Lopez said it, she said empowerment. That was great. Okay, so Caroline, pick the next question.
Let's go for A660 basics for 500.
Okay.
PAs and PTAs that wish to use the school building during school hours must obtain permission from the principal. Use of the school building during school hours does not count against the blank number of hours per year of free use.
Rima.
What is 110 hours?
Let me see the answer. Correct. Rima, you get to pick the next question.
Who's who in NYCPS for 400?
Acting First Deputy Chancellor.
Rima.
Who is Isabel DeMola?
Can we see the answer? Rima, you get to pick the next question.
Elections for 100.
The form which candidates and voters must present verifying their status as a PA, PTA presidents or designees at the time of the President's Council elections are held.
Reverend Thompson.
Election certification form.
Can we see the answer? Okay. Reverend Thompson, you get to ask the next question.
Let's try A660 basics for 400.
Okay, President's Councils have the right to request and receive full and factual information relating to student testing schedules and student achievement data from the superintendent.
Quentin.
Wait, I'm rereading it. What is the A660?
Well, it's in the A660, but what section?
What section in the A660? That's a
Right, what
very
does
good
that fall
question.
under?
I'm gonna throw a lifeline to Rima.
Is that another game show?
All right, well, for these purposes. Rima?
Can you reread the question?
Okay.
Oh, right.
President's
It's the rights. It's the rights and responsibilities.
Can we see the answer? There you go. You get to ask the next question. Gwen, if you could just put your hand down.
Who's who in NYCPS for 300?
The Deputy Chancellor of Family, Community, and Student Empowerment.
Reverend Thompson.
Dr. Christina Melendez. Who is Dr. Christina Melendez? Let's do elections for 400.
Okay, this must allege a specific material violation of A660 or of the organization's bylaws.
Reverend, oh, sorry, Rima.
What is a grievance?
Can we see the answer? Okay, Rima, you pick the next question.
Who's who for 200?
Okay, the Deputy Chancellor of the Division of Inclusive and Accessible Learning, also known as DIAL.
Reverend Thompson?
My apologies, I never lowered my hand.
Okay. Oh, Dr. Melendez, would you like to answer that question? I'm sorry, Rima, but can we let Dr. Melendez answer this question? Do you mind?
She's good. Go ahead.
I just want to say thank you for letting me play. I just jumped on because I missed mine. I saw that Tamika, my chief of staff, saw that I was on there. I want to say it's another Christina. Christina Foti. Did I get it right? Did I get it right?
Yay, Dr. Melendez. You get to pick the next question.
Oh, my favorite topic, elections for 200. If you know, you know.
Okay, the deadline in which elections of mandatory PA, PTA officers must be held.
Rima.
June 30th.
Okay. All right, it's 11.
More detailed answer.
I don't see the chancellor on. Let's go quick with the next couple of questions. Rima, quick.
A660 for 300.
Okay, for general membership meetings, a minimum number of members specified in the bylaws, including at least 2 executive board constitutes what?
Caroline.
8 members.
What's the name of what it constitutes?
Yeah.
A quorum. What is a quorum?
Answer. Thank you. Choose the next question.
Let's go for President's Council 200.
We'll go for it. President's councils must hold at least blank monthly general membership meetings per school year.
Caroline.
9 monthly general membership meetings per school year. What is 9 months? 9 months? 9 meetings?
Yep.
Yes. Okay, our chancellor's on, so we're going to stop. We're going to just pause for the last. Oh, we're going to just do it.
President or co-president must serve on this district level organization.
Caroline.
I didn't have my hand lowered,
Oh, sorry,
so I
Rima.
give it to Rima.
Okay.
What is the district leadership team?
Okay, thank you so much. Josephine, slide. The slide, Josephine, or no? For the chancellor? Okay, so.
Oh, I'm here, Randy. Is it okay for
Yes,
me?
yes, I see you.
Good morning, everyone. It's great to be with all of you. I sincerely apologize. I am under the weather and waiting to finish up at the doctor's office, so I ran out to be with all of you for a few minutes, and then I have to go back in and apologize. But we'll leave, the team here to support with question and answers. First of all, I just wanted to thank all of you for your incredible support, for your partnership. It's just not only from a professional but from a personal standpoint, it has really enriched my life as a mom and as an educator, to be in spaces with all of you, and you've taught me so much about the system and how to be a better mom. And so I just want to thank you for all of that and wish you a happy holiday, and know that regardless of what happens, you have all started a movement to really push for parent empowerment. And I know that Mayor-elect Mamdani, that's important to him, and that is going to be very important to whoever is the next chancellor, whether it's me or someone else. So I just wanted to come on really quickly and thank you all. And I'm so sorry I'm not on camera, but you're not missing much. But it was important to be with all of you, even if it's for a few minutes. So thank you.
Okay, so before you hop off, and this just shows the dedication of our chancellor. She's still here. She's in the doctor's office. She dipped out to still meet with us and speak with us, and just that's just, we just love and appreciate you so much. So I just want to say that during our November CPAC meeting, we unanimously passed a position letter to Mayor-elect Mamdani to retain you to ensure continuity and progress for our New York City public school students and families. And we've worked with many administrations, and no leader has ever demonstrated a more sincere, consistent desire to work with parents. So you've restored meaningful parent inclusion, involvement, engagement, empowerment, ensuring that parents are partners in the decision-making and not just bystanders. And community voice is now embedded in major system decisions because of you. And this relationship cannot be easily replaced. And we do hope that your leadership will continue with the new administration.
Thank you so much. That means the world to me. Regardless of what happens, just knowing what we've all been able to accomplish, and the time we've all spent together, it really means the world to me. So thank you for those incredibly kind words. And I love you all and I appreciate you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you. And we wish you and your family a happy holiday season and a happy and healthy new year.
Happy holidays. Happy New Year. See you all soon. Bye.
Bye. If that's not dedication, I mean, I don't know what it is. So we appreciate her being here so much. So we're going to see, we had sent some questions in, so we're gonna ask the questions to you guys, and if you're able to respond, if not, we'll email and share the response. So first question is, can you change the permissions on SharePoint so that PTAs can access the necessary files and documents? So when you go on to the SharePoint, the face documents and stuff like that, if you don't sign in with your DOE emails, sorry, DOE emails at school's account, you can't access the documents. So can that be changed?
We are all smiling and very clear about what the cough was about. And so thank you for raising that to us. We are more than happy to look into that. I don't know how the workaround is off the top of my head without talking to DIT. I don't know what the workaround is with I think Rima may have an answer for us, but happy to figure this out with you and get back to you ASAP around that. But Rima, I don't know if Rima had something to add to her.
Rima?
Whoever owns the SharePoint, the administrator, just has to go in and check off the box, manage access for viewer access only. And then anybody that opens any file within that folder will have viewer access. But when people ask us for an interim financial report, either we have to actually download it and send a PDF, send screenshots, or send them to the the landing page for the resource folder, and then they have to go through all of the individual prompts and folders to find it themselves. If we send it directly, again, it asks for the login with the DOE emails.
At schools
Yep.
account. Okay.
On it. Thank you, Rima, for the workaround suggestion, and I'll get back to the official, maybe step-by-step guide on how we can do that for ourselves, so that then you can have access to those things as well.
Thank you. Next question is, what is the plan to reduce chronic absenteeism and re-engage students who are struggling?
I want to start and then like pass it on. I know the team is here, Flavia and Malika, I saw them on, and they have great work that they're doing, but I do want to start with right here, all of you, as the leaders in your spaces, continuing to support and encourage others of the importance of sending their children to school, but more importantly, thinking about some of the family connector charge, which is, maybe there is a barrier that you may not have the community or may not have shared with the community that is causing you not to take your child to school. And so maybe there is something that we can do as a collective. And what we know for sure here at New York City Pools is that parent to parent connection is a more trusted relationship. It's more it's clear, comes across very genuine, and you guys are very trusted messengers in your spaces. And so I want to make sure that you also know that you are part of that solution, as well as all of the things that our school leaders and our superintendents are doing that Flavia and Malika will share. But I want you to know that there is a lot of power in what you do, and I hope that you can survey people. And then if you can't support them directly and they're comfortable with you sharing with us, we want to be able to support them as well. So please feel free to do that. But Flavia?
Thank you, Dr. Melendez, and good morning, everyone. Good morning, Randy. So I'm excited to be here to talk a little bit about the work that we have been doing, the work that we are pushing to continue, and then some new and exciting strategies and materials that we actually have recently developed. So Malik is going to be sharing some of those on the chat. So if we were to kind of, as Dr. Melendez highlighted, look at like what are the 3 to 4 or 5 things that we could do to help push attendance improvement. I kind of put those in the chat. So just so that we have them at a high level, is really making attendance expectations clear for families, for students, for the community. What do I mean by that? And especially, Randy, to the question of being chronically absent. Like not all the parents, all the students, depending on the population that you're dealing, may have a full understanding 2 times per month. On a regular basis, that adds up to 18 absences and automatically make you chronically absent, right? So I think it's clear expectation, clear communication. One thing that I'm excited to share is that through the work and the partnerships that we had with superintendents, with principals, with community members, including embedding some of these practices in the community school initiative that I also lead, from 2021, 2022, where we were at 40.7% chronically absent, we are out now down 33.3%. So does that mean that like we kind of sit back and no, there's still so much work to be done? But if you quantify that on numbers, that means that 3 years ago, we had approximately 70 more thousand students who were chronically absent than where we ended last year. And that means 70,000 students or more with more opportunities. And I actually love the way that this question was framed, which was about, we're looking at attendance, but it's really about re-engaging students who we are struggling. Because what this question did is automatically show you that attendance is what we see, but the symptom and the root cause is what we need to figure out. Are children struggling because of mental health, wellness needs? Are they struggling because of academics, right? That's what we have really deep in the work that we have done around New York City Reads and New York City Soul, the strong academics, the places where children see themselves in the curriculum, in the work that they embedded, places where children have strong relationship. My son attends a school in DOE. Last Friday, I was like, Elian, you're not feeling well, please, like, I'm going to keep you home. He's like, no, I'm going to school. I'm going to school. He learned his lesson because I did get the call. And around noon, I had to run out because he started throwing up in the school, which is never a good experience. And, you know, he's fine now. But for him, the relationships and what he experiences every day in school is what encouraged him to be there every day. And those same experiences that my son is having is what I want to see for everyone. In addition to that, we have done a lot of work to really build the practices at schools so that schools are convening weekly attendance meetings, checking who are the students who are at risk, because the key here is to support students early and often so that they don't become disengaged, like really shifting the narrative to be more prevented, reaching families quickly rather than after the fact. Also, this notion of personalized supports for each child. So the better that a school community knows their students, knows the families, the more targeted that we can be about the interventions, about the supports that are put in place. Because what worked for Elia may not work for Jenny, may not work for that child, may not meet the need of that family and that community. So we cannot improve chronic absenteeism for the goals that we have set out if we don't partner well with communities and with families. And talking about partnering with communities and families, and I think my colleague Malika may have even share some of those in the chat. We have these districts that we're targeting through community partnerships. We also provided funding for targeted districts to come up with attendance plans. And part of the requirement that was embedded in those plans, as recommended by Deputy Chancellor Melendez, was to make sure that the CECs were engaged on how that funding that came from Central and the resources and the plans were reflected. So the whole idea here is that it's not just the responsibility of the central team, it's not just the responsibility of the superintendents, but the parent voice is critical. Like the community, as I mentioned, that my child goes know him and adore him, but I don't think there's anybody out there that knows and love and care for my child the way that I do. And if they do, they will want to partner with me to make sure that they're doing the things that he needs so that he could be successful. We have a bold and ambitious goal for attendance this year, which is improving attendance to 92%. And right now we are at, we have a little bit of a ways to go for that because we ended the year with 89.8. And then our chronic absenteeism goal is to go to 29%, which will put us back to more closely with what attendance used to, chronic absenteeism was with pre-pandemic. And we know that we could achieve this goal with your support because we have already seen a reduction in chronic absenteeism in 7.4% over the last 3 years. And we added, I think Malika put a link and some resources that we have available, and they are accessible. Very timely, I just see Malika put the link. They are accessible in multiple languages. So please take the videos, share them with the communities. Yesterday, today, if any of you follow me on X, I've been tapping some of the resources that we have been putting out with support from the Chancellor, from the comms team. Let's make this a #1 priority for all of us because we are doing a lot of great things in our schools, in our school communities, and children have access to food, to resources, to care, to knowledge, to love. But if they are not in there, they are not going to be receiving all of those resources. I'll put my email in the chat. Malik is here. Anything that you guys need, along with DC Melendez, we're always accessible and available. So thank you so much for having that great question and for the timing of this request.
Thank you so much. We appreciate that. And we learn, yeah, that I launched. So everybody was looking at that and kind of curious. And so I'm glad that you were here to be able to explain it to us and everyone that's watching on YouTube so that they can all see and hear this information together.
Randy.
Okay. Next question. Can New York City Public Schools create and implement a citywide policy that prohibits schools, PAPTAs, and CBO partners for scheduling events on the same nights as district and borough presidents' council meetings and citywide and community education council meetings So parents are not forced to choose between fulfilling their elected leadership responsibilities and participating in their child's school activities. So a lot of you know where that came from. My former superintendent in District 21, Isabel DeMola, who's now the first deputy chancellor. We had a conversation. My daughter was very little, and they were having an event at the school, and it was the same night as my president's council meeting. And I wanted to be a mom and see my daughter in the show, but none of my executive board members wanted to give the meeting. They were very nervous. So I explained that this is a hardship for a lot of parents, that we have this obligation that we signed up to do, but we also want to be moms, and we're moms first or dads first. So she made it a policy in the district, unofficially, but you know, that there could be no events on the nights of President's Council and CEC meetings, so that everyone is able to attend. So being that it's a best practice, we like to see if it can go citywide.
Yeah, Randy, thank you for the context there, because you're definitely not alone in having experienced those moments where you're like torn between even just two meetings, let alone like your child as well. And so we know that this has happened more than it needs to, or we hope it does. We are very grateful for you all volunteering your time and expertise in many of these spaces and parent leadership structures. And so we want to thank you for that. We also want to share that we are very much committed to what you are saying, which is making sure that our principals and our superintendents are thinking about how do we plan around and with our parent leaders. And so many of them do. And sometimes the schedule just gets tight and the calendar just gets really tight and they have to make executive decisions. And I hope that those happen less frequently than how it could, right? And I think about the holiday seasons and just how many days are in December. And I think about the June month and how there are regents exams and all of these things that happen. But what I know for sure is that your voice is really important and valuable. Your meetings and what you are doing in these meetings are really essential to the work that we do. And so we can't say that we care about those things and then sort of simultaneously schedule other things. And so we will definitely re-message this idea early on as we start and as we go into the new year, not school year, but the new year, to all of our principals, to remind them that there is a calendar that exists, that you guys are very consistent about the dates that you pick. Your meetings are not moving around for the most part. And so if we could work together with you all to make sure that at the school level, at the district level, we have some sort of calendar coordination, I think is something that we will definitely encourage for sure. Thank you, though.
Thank you. We appreciate that. I mean, if there can, I mean, so president's councils and PAs and PTAs, we have our dates. It's in our bylaws. So for president's councils, we send them out in the beginning of the year. Actually, we propose them at the end of like in June. Their tentative dates already sent out, and the same thing for the CEC. Usually, theirs come out in July or August. So it's there in the beginning of the year. So if everyone just plans around those dates in their districts, citywide, it would be a little bit more difficult for them. But if it's something that we work on in partnership, I'm sure we can figure out a way to get it done. Thank you. Any questions from the executive board? Rima?
Hi, everyone. So I had a very interesting interaction in a DLT meeting, and just wanted to share or wanted to ask a question. When we're in our DLTs or in our SLTs and we're expected to progress monitor and create goals and, adjust goals at, middle and end of year for the rest of the year or the following CEP or DCEP, there's a certain amount of data that's able to actually progress monitor. Like if you say you're gonna do attendance, or if you're gonna say you're gonna improve reading, and then you have a reading assessment, that it would then make sense that you would have access to the assessment data to see how you did at the next progress monitoring period. Now, when I've been requesting this information, for almost a year now. And every month is that the data is not available, or that like it's still being processed, or it's embargoed, which is true for not a long time. And then the last response was that the data they're providing is the data that they're required to provide, which I could provide a screenshot, is the snapshot of the superintendent's dashboard, which does not include beginning, middle, and end of year data, so is not fully relevant or useful in progress monitoring goals that are also not necessarily reflected on the dashboard. And then the other part of the response was that I know my district best, and that if I need more data, I can contact the superintendent's office. And this was communicated to somebody else on the team who liaises between the staff and the DLT members. And I don't know what to do with that, but I know that I don't like to waste my time. And this is what we are required as per New York State Education Law 2590 to be doing in these spaces. And so I don't want to be in a space where I'm an unpaid volunteer, not doing my job that we are elected to perform for our constituents, and mandated to perform as per federal guidelines, state law, etc. Texas regulations A655, A660. And so how do we support district leadership teams to function properly, and get the information that we require in a timely fashion to do this within the year we're supposed to do it in? Thanks.
Okay. Anyone?
I don't know if there's anyone from, yes, there, I see
Hi,
Tammy.
hi, good. Oh, go ahead, Jonta.
No, hi, Rima, Danielle Junta, and I get to work with Deputy Chancellor Rux's team in DSL. So I think probably I have 1,000 more questions to ask you, but in general, just to make sure I'm like really addressing it, but in general, there's so much data that's coming at us, and some of that data has to be prepared for sharing. Not all data, because of personal, identifiable information in our different systems, has to be prepared for sharing. I think it is a best practice at school leadership teams and DL teams to bring shareable data, and people can notice trends and make, ask those questions and kind of brainstorm around what do we think is the right next step. And I know, even as a principal and former superintendent myself, when I would bring some of that data to the table, I might already have some big ideas and to throw into the mix around what this data looks like to us, and have done some level of progress monitoring that helps kick the conversation off. So some questions I'd like to maybe follow up with you on the side is like, what specific data, and then I can maybe help tease out what is some of the data that, really can be and should be encouraged to be at the table during these risk monitoring sessions at your SLTs and DLTs. Suzanne, did you want to add anything else? And also, Rima, feel free to follow up with other questions.
No, Jonta, I think you covered it all, and great. Thank you for that.
So I appreciate the response. I do I want to root us in the fact that I've been on DLTs for 10 years. And so I'm on 7 DLTs, right? Because as Bronx High Schools, I have to be on all of the Bronx ones. I'm on the D75 DLT. I'm the chairperson. I've been a chairperson of a DLT for over 5 years. And so, right, I know what data I'm supposed to have, and I know what data they're allowed to share, because it's being shared by other teams who are also superintendents, right? And so if one superintendent team can and must share this data, then it can and must be shared by the others in the same spaces for the same purpose. And so specifically what I'm talking about right now is beginning, middle, and end of year data, which is absolutely required to progress monitor in the middle and the end of the year. And so it's absurd that a team is saying that they can't provide this data to me, and additionally that the data they're providing is not the data requested nor fully relevant to the 5 priority areas that we're discussing in the DCEP or the college and career readiness section of the district DCEP, but that the response would be in such a tone, right? And so there's the 2 issues here. One is the fact that it's felt to be okay to respond to a request in that manner versus, taking it up the ladder. And if it was like, I can't, like, Deputy Chancellor Rux is not here, so I can't ask. But this concern has been elevated allegedly through the DFSP every month. And it's in our minutes every month for like a year. So then at what point, like, right, we're all elected for a year's term as per the regulation. So we spend the whole year fighting for data and then we're not elected anymore. And so again, I'm just confused at if we truly want to involve, engage, and empower parents, then we have to start with ourselves. And so each team has to at least be provided a minimum of what they're expected to share in these spaces, which again is in the high level timeline. I just want to say there's a document for this that says we need this. Maybe it's helpful if everyone reads it. And I'm sorry that I'm getting frustrated, but like, and then we'll get another superintendent and we'll have to wait another year, 2 years for people to catch up. And in the meantime, our students are suffering, which is reflected in our graduation rates, in our regents rates. Like we're #1 at all the things that you don't want to be #1 at. So now I'm respectfully very frustrated. Thank you.
So then what I would just say to end on that is, and especially as you were describing, you've been lifting some things. So I don't want to repeat or slow down some of the conversation, but with this specific case, I'm happy to like connect with you on the side, but I do know that you have a lot of access to Chief Hulla and DC Rux, but I'm happy to, you're talking about the insistence and correct insistence upon that calibration and coherence across the system and so if there's an example of a breach in that, you're feeling frustrated that it's not that gap's not getting filled. So I don't want to, give you all the big answers because you have a very specific question. I'm happy to, connect with you and also make sure the folks that weren't able to join us today that you normally connect with, I will make sure that, you need to connect on this again. And act.
And just oh, sorry, Dana.
Get over.
And then I just want to add that in our FLC trainings that we have alongside DSL, we can definitely uplift what the specifics are and what do A660 and A655 say around some of this work. Thank you, Randy, for putting it in the chat. But just reminding them of what's expected at these meetings and what is okay and what is the requirement as per our regulations is something that we do already, and we're happy to also uplift the specifics here around DLT, DCEPs, et cetera. So just know that that's something I noted for the New Year's trainings, and I'm sure Annmary did as well.
Thank you. Caroline, we're gonna have you be the last question.
30 seconds, literally.
No problem.
First of all, I just want to give Rima kudos because this is something that when you get into this particular seat, you either have enough time on a PA and a PTA, you may know what you're doing then and there, but there are presidents that are very new to this space right now, and they don't realize what they have the right to have or not have. Even though A660 says what it says, not everybody's reading that, to be very honest with you. It's from my experience, what I've seen. And with that said, to me, the DLT is pretty much the higher level of an SLT. And if you're in the SLT, even if you're not a president in the council space, you know that you have access to all of that information. And everyone should have access as a PTA president and as a president in the council on the DLT to an iPlan portal space. Everyone should know they have access to that. I have come across people who do not even know what iPlan portal even is. And so when I'm saying this, I think there needs to be some sort of larger intention to create the intentionality and knowledge that this particular space of PTAs and PAs and President's Council, yes, they're volunteer, But if we're going to call ourselves part of the mandatory officers, then we need to be equal to those other mandatory officers that are obviously not voluntary. So that's what I wanted to say. It's more on this, our rights and understanding you should be treating us just the same. It should not be who gets this information. It's all for our kids, all of them. So that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. And I guess we'll have speakers set up for the next meeting, and we're going to just continue until, we get it right. We are in a better place than we used to be. Now we're being seen and heard. We're being respected and valued as parent leaders. So as long as the work, as long as the right people in the right spaces and places, the work will continue, and it's going to continue to get better for everyone. Okay, so we are now at time. We've done remarkable all day today. I'm so proud of us. This is like the best meeting. So I just want to thank the Chancellor for stepping out of her doctor's appointment to be here with us, for the cabinet members, for all New York City Public School staff that's here with us today. Thank you so much. We wish you all a happy holiday. I'm going to say, actually, to everyone who celebrates, Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, Happy Kwanzaa. Those are the things. So whoever celebrates whichever holiday, I wish you the best and a happy and healthy new year to everyone. And we'll see you all in 2026.
It's been a
So
true pleasure. Have a great end of the year to all of you. See you.
thank you. The
Happy
meeting is not over.
holidays.
We're just allowing our partners to go back to what they need to do to continue their days.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Thank you. Same to you. Okay, now for Anthony's hot topics, preparing the interim financial report. Anthony, you're a co-host. Yeah, okay. So Josephine, you can stop sharing. Anthony, you are able to share. And we don't hear you. It shows you're unmuted. It just, we can't hear you. Nothing. Slides are moving. Don't hear you.
Anthony, do you have your microphone up?
No sound.
What if he signs in and out?
You want to leave and come back? Okay. So while he's doing that, we did this Jeopardy for you guys with the trivia. So did you like that? We could continue that on other topics if you'd like. We're just trying to make sure that everyone knows the rules, the roles, the regs, the policies, but do it in a more fun way than just like a boring training sometimes. Cause like, I know me, sometimes I zone out. So we just want to make sure that you're all engaged and it's, active and animated, and everyone enjoyed it. Yes. Okay.
Hear me now?
Yes. Okay. Floor is yours, Anthony.
Thank you. Yeah. So we're going to talk about interim financials today. I have a couple of my slides. I want to go. Okay. There you go. All right. So the things we're going to be talking about today is transfer of records, proposed budgets, monthly financial reports, and interim financials. Why they all correlate in some way, somehow, to the interim financial report. So as we all know, at the end of the year, It is the outgoings board responsibility to transfer all records to the newly executive board, either if it's paper or electronic. If it's paper, it must maintain on the school premises. Some of the documents that we refer to or that should be transferred are bylaws, any amendments, meetings, notifications, agendas, minutes, elections, ballots, things of that nature, and then EIN, banking information and record statements, things of that nature, and that must be kept for 6 years. And then if any legal issues, that as well should be kept for 6 years or as long as the investigation is proceeding. Now, the transfer of records is important because you see, number one, we're gathering information for the proposed budget. This is where you find everything that they did last year, all the expenses that happened and took place, so that you can put a new budget out for this year that you are elected. Things that you should be looking at is your any income that came in. So if you are accruing those same interest or income, that you can plan out your events or whatever you are doing. Expenditures as well, you can gain a insight on where you should be shooting so that your numbers are not unrealistic. And then this helps you that you are going to do. One thing I will say before you go to number 5, approving the budget, in your quarterly meetings, you should be talking with your principal about any fundraisers, events that you are having, so that you get approval. One thing, you have to get approval for your events or your fundraisers that you're having in the school, right? You don't have to get approval for your budget. Your budget is yours, not the principal's, okay? You're just getting approval for the events that are taking place within the school. Now, monthly financial reports. I wanted to touch base on this because this is basically a summary of what's happening within that month. If you see on the picture on the left-hand side, here's a sample. The way this board did it was they categorized things. So if you see it here, it's picture day. It's not telling you exact sale. It's not telling you each purchase or everything. Sorry, for the expenditures, it's not telling you each purchase that they made, right? It's just giving you a lump sum. So it could be that 2 people are getting reimbursed for the snack sale. It doesn't say that there because they're categorized. However, you do, for records, have to maintain all those receipts, checks, whatever have you, about that category, because if you do get audit, we need to see all that information. But for this purpose of your financials and then the interim financial report, we're just going to categorize each event because it just makes it a little seamless when we are calculating everything. When you do this monthly report, you should be sharing this report with PTA members. You should also be sharing it with your principal. And if you're president's council, you should be sharing it with your superintendent team. So this monthly report also makes it easier when you're doing the interim financial report, because you're basically just taking all that information and just putting it into the interim financial report. The interim financial report, what is it? It's just basically a mid-year summary of all incoming and outgoing money to the PTA and just keeping track of everything. At the end of the year, you will have an annual financial report, which shows from the beginning to the end. The interim financial report is due on January 31st. You submit that to your parent coordinator or whoever is designated to receive that, and then they put it into a system where we received it. And at the same thing as the financial report, it is the responsibility of the PTA to give copies to their membership. Now here is the first page of the interim financial report. We're just gonna go on how to fill it out just a little bit. So this starting balance should go here where this arrow is located, and you get this information from the transfer records that we spoke about earlier in this presentation. Once you get everything, that first balance when you initially got the bank statement is what you're going to put here. Then we're going to take any membership dues. If you do not collect membership dues, you're going to basically leave it at 0, and that's where you would put that information. And then over here, any income that you received other than membership dues should go here. As I said before in the monthly financial report, just categorize it. It makes it easier. And then just put the balance. Once you have everything in this column here, you just add everything up and put it in the totals, total income in the bottom. This is the second page. The second page is any expenses that you incurred, that you spent money on. So you're going to list every expense by category again here on this list, and tell the amount. So basically, whatever it was goes on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, obviously their amount. You're going to total that up and add that here. On the bottom, where it says fund balances, you're going to take the income minus your expenses, and that's how you get this amount. Be sure on the bottom to get the following information. The day you distributed this report to the members and the principal, and then have it signed by your president and treasurer on the bottom. Once you submit that to your principal or parent coordinator or both, whoever's the designee to receive that information, they will input it into the system again, and that's how we get the information, and you're in compliance with the interim financial deadline that is stated in A660. Any questions? I just see a hand raised because I'm still sharing my screen, so.
It's Caroline. Go ahead, Caroline.
It's a short question. I have a few PTAs that are kind of struggling with keeping their treasurer roles, their spot open, or filled. And so what happens if you don't have the treasurer there, but it hasn't been enough time passed for you to fill the seat?
So you should you should try to fill your seat at your next meeting, but you're saying before that, correct?
Right, because isn't this report filled out alongside the treasurer with the president?
Yes.
Right, and so the treasurer is no longer in that exec board. How do you proceed in the time between now and the due date?
So as a president of the PAPTA, they should be assisting in filling that role or completing the form, essentially. It shouldn't be that hard if they're doing, like I said before, if they're doing the monthly financial reports. You're just basically taking that information and putting it into the sheet. As long as they were doing that, it shouldn't be that hard. And if the president can't do it, the vice president can support, or any other members in the council into that seat. So,
Fantastic.
but this is where we leave it to the president to delegate and to ask for support if need be. Your council, sometimes you need help from your council and just people who know the information, right?
I just wanted to follow proper protocol for that. Thank you so much, Anthony.
Priscilla?
Sorry, guys, I am actually at a school building. I do have a question that all PTAs are asking. But the issue is, what if none of the board members can be on the bank account for personal or legal reasons? And I have one school that has a board with that, for that very reason. They cannot establish a bank account because either immigration or personal legal reasons.
It's unfortunate they just can't fundraise. You would hope.
Yeah.
So in your bylaws, in my bylaws, I have who shall be a signatory and who may be a signatory in the event that someone who shall cannot, unbankable for whatever reason. And then you can have like your financial secretary, your corresponding secretary, someone else on the board that can be a signatory. It doesn't always have to be the mandatory members.
I think it's a good idea for them to possibly elect those non-mandatories. That's a great suggestion. Thank you, Randy.
Yeah, it just says the minimum is 2 signatories, but it doesn't say a maximum, right? So you could have more than those for support purposes.
Thank you, Anthony.
Also think about like if you have family ties and things of that nature when 2 people can't sign the same check and so forth. So that's why we say at least 2, but it can be more than that if need be.
Okay, Anthony,
you don't want to stop business. Go ahead. Sorry.
Sorry. Would you mind stop sharing your screen? Because I just wanted to share my screen really quick.
Sure.
So if this is helpful to anyone, I actually have, this is what I use. So we're here also as CPAC to share best practices with you guys. So this is something that I've used in my district for almost 2 decades. This is what helps me keep on track. Depending on if you want, you can use this for your PTA monthly meetings as your financial report, or you can just use this to keep your records and then have a regular ordinary monthly financial report. This is Excel. The formula is already in here. It has a variety of income and expenses to see, it also gives you ideas of what you can do at your schools. Elementary and middle, obviously, and high school would be different. But once you add an amount in here, it totals it at the end, brings it to the bottom. It does all the work for you. So if you start inputting information up until January 15th and you stop, when you do your interim financial report, you just have to pull from this line. The other good thing about this form is your expenses. If you put your proposed budget amounts in here for your expenses, deduct it. So it'll tell you how much you have left in your budget to spend. So it's very quick for you to look at and see and say, oh, there's this great sale. I want to buy all this stuff for our Fright Fest. We want to get, Spirit and buy all this stuff. How much do we have left? I would be able to tell you here, we only have, $300 left. You're like, great, we could buy 2 things with that, So if you'd like, I could drop this in the chat and share it with all of you and you can use it or not. It's just, if you'd like to, just to make your life. If you mess up the formula though, oh, it's currently in use. I can't share it. Let me close it. It's not letting me share. Give me 1 second. Okay. So that's in the chat and you can use it or not, share it with your PTAs or not. It's just a best practice that works well for me. So those are other things that we want to do here as well. If you have any best practices in your district that works well for you, please share them because like everyone said, we do have some new presidents here and we want to make sure that they have all the things that they need to be successful. And if we keep it to ourselves and not share it, then what kind of parent leaders would we be? So anything that you have, share, and we can create a Google Drive for everyone to pull from. We have that at Brooklyn High School President's Council. Yes, I can. So any questions for Anthony on the financial report? I'm preparing them.
Sorry, is this document that you shared, Anthony, available to us, or is that something that's just exclusive to
No, it's
the
available to you.
office? If you
The
could
interim
please
financial report?
share it with us, because I think that's something that goes deeper than just the documents. When we show them on our meetings, it helps us kind of elaborate a little bit deeper, and it breaks it down for us. So I found it really well put together.
Okay, I will share with CPAC and then CPAC can
Thank
share with
you.
information.
We'll forward it out. And just a reminder, thank you, Rima, for adding that to the chat. Just a reminder, even if you are not fundraising, you still have to complete a financial, an interim financial report. You just put 0 for the income, 0 for the expense, 0 for the fund balance. That must be done by every single PTA because it has to be uploaded to SPLCI. Okay, so thank you, Anthony, for that great presentation. I just also want to add something. So as we're finished with the financial. As parent leaders, we're urging families to take action now. Our paraprofessionals, our UFC paraprofessionals who support students with the highest needs every single day, they still do not earn a livable wage. They play an essential role in ensuring that our children can learn, grow, and thrive. Yet, their compensation does not reflect the value of their work. So the majority of the New York City Council members have already signed on to support the Para Respect Check Bill, which is Intro 1261, demonstrating broad recognition of how critical this issue is. Now we need New York City Council Speaker Adrian Adams to bring the bill to the floor for a vote. At a time where city council members earn 6-figure salaries and are considering additional raises, our paras continue to struggle, even though our schools cannot function without them. And the imbalance is unacceptable. So our children depend on these dedicated paraprofessionals. So we want to make sure that they get the respect, the recognition, and the fair pay they deserve. So if everyone can take a moment to call or email Speaker Adams today, our collective voice can help move this bill forward. So you can email Speaker Adams at council.nyc.gov or call 212-482-6731. I will drop that information in the chat. Are there any questions about anything else? If there are no questions, I am proud to say, so we are trying to shorten the meeting a little bit. We know that the meetings for 3 hours have been a little bit crazy for people, and that's why some of them can't join. But it's 11:55. We're still in the morning. So if there is nothing further, would someone make a motion to adjourn this meeting?
A motion to close.
Motion to District 31 second.
Bronx High School's first.
Oh, okay. Bronx High School and District 31. So we want to wish all who celebrate a happy holiday season, happy Hanukkah, happy Kwanzaa, Merry Christmas, and a happy, healthy New Year to all. And we are adjourned at 11:55 a.m.
Woohoo!
Thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you. We'll see you next year, 2026. And I
Thank
will
you.
stop.
Happy holidays, everybody.
Happy crossover, everyone.